Welcome to the Bleed Big Blue podcast, dedicated coverage of the New York Football Giants by your hosts, Marco, Trifecta, T. Merritt, and JVW.
What up?
Where's our lovely host?
I don't know. Marco, you just being silent or what?
Yeah, I don't know. He went... So what's up, buddy?
Also, I get a message that we're live, and all of a sudden he just doesn't. He's not him.
That's exactly what I got. And then I called in, and the music was playing, and I thought he was like all set up and ready to go, and then dead silent.
He's also. So you see how professional me and James are. We literally dialed in when the music was going on. Marco just put us in the show and left.
I was like mid-drool, like 5 minutes ago. I was like nodding off. My wife kicked me and was like, it's like 10 o'clock. I was like, oh, God, Jesus, podcast.
And
this is
how
late.
we do the show, guys. Huh? Yeah.
It's late for me,
well,
10 o'clock.
So, I've been trying to do research. I know there hasn't been any news or anything, really. It's all, speculation and hearsay. But it really sounds like the Buffalo trade's going to happen.
I hope not, Tim.
But I don't think we're going down to 12. Everything I'm hearing is Buffalo's is trying to work their way up there to get to at least Indianapolis' pick.
Then I'm in.
And then you go 6-2. Because that's what it sounds like the Giants are pretty much.
Here's my thing. I've said it either – there's two things, right? So it's either quarterback, if you're not sold on the quarterback and you're going to trade back. Now, if you're going to trade back, let's assume that the team trading up with you is going to pick a quarterback. So the first three picks – you're guaranteed are quarterbacks, right? And you can argue all day over which quarterbacks are going to go first, second, and third, but the first three picks are guaranteed to be quarterbacks. So that means if you're the Giants, to me, you're looking at you figure that Cleveland is, unless they trade back, is most likely going to go a position player. So if I'm the Giants, there are 4 position players right now that I would have my eye on. And in any particular order, you can argue all day over who's better than these 4. But my guys would be Chubb, Barkley, Fitzpatrick, and Nelson. And to me, if I'm the Giants, right? And so if I'm the Giants, if I can trade back and acquire more picks and leave the draft with one of those 4 guys, I don't care which one, Tim. Because I think that there's a need for each one of those guys on the roster. So I don't care which one. Trade back, get me one of those 4 guys, and walk away with a bevy of picks on top of that. Do not trade back and end up with 12 and 21.
Well, here's my thing, and I have from what I've seen, and it's going to – honestly, the amount of picks are going to get more because they're trying to go by the trade chart right now as far as value. And that's going to be thrown out the window once desperation gets kicked in. Now, I've seen it literally be the 2 ones, Buffalo's second-round pick and their Buffalo's third-round pick as far as being – enough to get up to our 2 spot.
What? Hold on, wait a minute.
That's what I read.
Buffalo is going to. So Buffalo has to trade. We're saying Buffalo has to get to 6, right?
Well, I'm looking at in particular. I'm looking at this Walter football.
See, to me, it gets really difficult when you start looking at Buffalo having to get to 6 and then having enough picks to acquire the number 2 pick in the draft.
Well, that's my is they don't have to jump as far for us to go to 2, from 6 to 2. But what else they're going to have to give up at least, they're probably going to have to give up the swap to 12. And
Can you
probably,
guys hear me?
Yeah,
hey,
I can hear you, Justin.
Okay. Just checking.
No problem.
How do you feel about all this?
Oh my God.
I'm not even being negative, Justin. You can't even yell at me. I'm being sensical. I'm being practical.
Can you guys hear me?
Wait for it, though.
Yeah, we can hear you. You just, throwing it in. But I really think it sounds like it's all day.
The kids were playing around with the setup, and I think they messed me up a little.
Hey, your kids were messing with the setup?
I think so. Am I coming low?
You're coming in high. You're coming in hot.
Coming in hot.
You're coming in. That's all that matters. There you go. Boom.
Yep.
There we go. All right, where were we, gentlemen? Where were we?
Well,
we were talking about the draft, trading back, and how far is too far, and Justin, were you with me with what I was saying? Where if you walk away with one of those 4 guys and a picks, then I'm fine, but 12 is too far back.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, my X factor in this whole thing is we were 3-13 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
3-13. So, if I'm the Giants, if I'm Dave Gettleman specifically, especially if I'm thinking about trading Odell, if it's not the quarterback, if it's not a quarterback, I got to be sure that I'm getting my guy. Because it's not like we had anything to build on last year. You know what I mean? So if you trade out of the 2 spot and you trade back too far and you end up having to settle on a guy that maybe you had rated 2nd or 3rd on your board for a couple more, shots at the dartboard, is that really worth it? If I'm Gettleman, I want to get the premium piece that I want. And so the trade's got to be perfect. It's
I don't think it can be with Buffalo. Like I do not see how Buffalo can get from 12 to 2. Like I just don't. Like there's not enough there. Like are you willing to give up your 1st round pick like next year, and the year after that? Because if you are, then I'm willing to listen a little bit. Like because I'm not messing around. I'm walking away from this either with a franchise quarterback or one of the top 4 position players where I have a need in the draft and additional picks.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's my goal if I'm Gettleman right now. There are 4 guys that I'm okay walking away with.
Unless there's an aspect of the plan that we don't know anything about.
Uh-oh. You think?
Which is possible.
How dare you, Justin?
I just don't.
Why are you yelling?
Because I'm far away from the phone. I'm playing Super Nintendo. But
oh my God. This is total professionalism on our show.
Multitasker.
I never said that.
As I was saying, though, the trade to 2.
Focus, Luigi.
The trade to 2 has to be on the same level as any trade for Beckham, and I'm sure we'll get there and we'll talk about it till we're blue in the face tonight. But to me, both of those trades, you have to blow me away. And I'm not saying that it can't be done, but if I'm the Giants, again, I'm not settling for anything less than more than I want.
See, I got news for you guys. Like, if I'm on the clock and I'm looking at the picks, like, if I'm Gettleman, and this is all hypothetical, we're just throwing stuff out there. But if Buffalo doesn't find a way to get to, let's say, because I don't know, Marco, if you heard what I was saying, but to me, top 3 picks are quarterbacks. right? So you're looking at 4, 5, 6, 7. I think somebody is going to make a move into that top 7 to take the other quarterback number 4, no matter what name that may be. I think quarterback number 4, somebody's going to move in there. So I'm assuming top 8. If I can stay in the top 8, I walk away with either one of Nelson, guaranteed, Nelson, Chubb, Fitzpatrick, Barkley. I'm walking away with one of them. Plus picks. So, like, to me, like, if you're sitting there and you're Gettleman and you got Buffalo blowing me away with late round picks or another pick next year or something like that, and the player, like, those players to me are gems. Like, those are 4 can't miss players, and you can argue till you're blue in the face about each one of those being more of a need for the Giants. You can make an argument that they need Chubb more. You can make an argument that they need Nelson more. You can make an argument they need Barkley or Fitzpatrick more. So I think if you can say to yourself, we're walking away with one of those guys and additional picks, additional throws at the dartboard, then to me that's a huge win. I think if you trade back to 12, even with the addition of 21, while the players you're going to get there are great prospects, you're not walking away with one of the top 4 to 5 players in the draft. And I think when you're at 2, you need to walk away with one of those guys.
Well, one of the I don't know if you guys saw this report, but there was an anonymous GM. And granted, could totally be smoke screen or just something that was completely falsely reported. But there was an anonymous NFL GM who said that Buffalo was desperate enough that they would trade up again if it means they could get into the top 3. So
yeah, but
I think it's possible.
My thing is, what are they going to get? What do you have to give up to get from 12 to 6?
Probably a lot. You probably need to sell your future, honestly.
Right. So if you're going to trade up to 12 to 6, then what are you going to have left over to give to me to get to 2?
No, that's it. You have to prepare for going to 2. So you have to sell off a bunch of your draft picks for later years. That's what they're going to have to do.
You are mortgaging your future. Wow.
Oh, definitely. But I think Buffalo thinks that they're good. They're a quarterback and maybe 1 or 2 more players away from being able to make a decent run or be heavily competitive.
Guys, would you, if you're Indianapolis, would you take 12 and McCoy?
No.
6. What else would you need?
If you're Indianapolis, I would say absolutely.
If I'm Indianapolis,
12
yeah.
if I'm Indy at 6
doubt.
and Buffalo's on the phone and they go, you trade back to 12, I'll give you 12 McCoy and what picks does Buffalo have? I mean, they got a shit ton of picks,
maybe like
right?
a future third or something like that.
Maybe something like that.
Buffalo's got 2 1s, 2 2s, and 2 3s.
No, but you're you're only getting one of those ones now.
Yeah, well, and I agree.
So now, you see what I'm saying? So if you're the Giants, right? Well, no, because you still want to rape them of picks. So you don't want.
And that's the thing that's going to happen. It's almost has to happen.
Want to do the same.
Yeah, but it's only 6 spots, and they're getting McCoy. It's only 6 spots, and they're getting McCoy too. See, I'm trying to think of something else that Buffalo can give of value, where you can make the argument where you can supplant McCoy with a couple of, with a younger back, get another back in the draft. You could replace a running back if you had to, especially if you have the quarterback that you want. So, I'm trying to think of what else they have that they can parlay into getting number 6 that Indy may need to say, okay, well, we can use this. Now you put McCoy with Luck, and we may have something here. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there because, again, this is all hypothetical.
Bills pretty much cleared house. That's the one thing that the GM did. He cleared house. Any big contracts gone. Like, they cleared house. Other than Shady McCoy, I don't even know what prospects he would go after.
The team that I'm telling you, it's usually the team that nobody's talking about. And the team that nobody is talking about right now is Denver. And Denver is in prime position to move up with the Giants and get whichever guy they want that Cleveland doesn't take.
And I think that's why the Giants. The perfect trade.
I think that is the perfect trade for the Giants, is to move back to 5. Or if somebody was to trade up with the Colts to 6, but that's it. Like keep me in the top 7, top 8 at the most. And even the top 8 is risky because you run the course of, let's say this happens. Quarterback. Barkley at 4, Chubb at 5, Nelson at 6, Fitzpatrick at 7. You're left holding your dick in your hands at 8. I think you need to stay in the top 7.
Well, that's the thing is, once the 3 quarterbacks go, that desperation for number 4 is going to get racked right up.
Tim, I totally agree with you, but you can't guarantee it. And
you can't guarantee it, but that's why I think, just put it this way, the Denver trade happens. Let's say we move down to 5, whatever we get for it. And exactly what you said, the top 3 quarterbacks. Let's say Cleveland says, screw it. We have too many draft picks. We'll just take Barkley. And then,
how do you guys?
You know what? If you want Baker Mayfield, what do you guys want to give? And we could trade down with a team like, for instance, Miami or Buffalo.
How do you guys feel about this? How do you guys feel? Because I honestly feel like this. Like, I love the 4 players that aren't quarterbacks so much, right? And again, I value the quarterbacks more than anything. So if you're sold on the quarterback, take the quarterback at 2. If you're not, I value those 4 players so much. I would be willing to take a lesser package to stay in the top 7 to make sure I get one of those guys. I would be willing to take a less. I'm willing to take additional picks. If you're still going to give me picks, but I'm willing to. I'm not going to let the team I'm negotiating with, know that. But in my head, I'm willing to take less just to stay there and get my hands on one of those 4 players. That's how good I think those 4 guys.
I'll give you a scenario then. Let's say Denver, like, hey, Giants, you want to trade down to 5? I'll give you my 2nd round pick.
No, it's going to be more than that. I'm not retarded. You're not going to. I'm not just going to do it to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to do it to do it. Like, you're going to have to give me value, but maybe you don't have to give me that extra sweet piece or the extra 2 sweet pieces that Buffalo would have to, because I know I'm walking away with a guy that can end up wearing a yellow jacket.
Well, here's the deal though. With 5, if you trade down to 5, you are going to get one of those guys.
Exactly.
But if and that's why Denver might be able to. I'll give you a 2nd round pick. Let's say Sam Darnold.
No, but they still have to give you value. I'm not telling Denver that. Like, I'm not leaving it. Gettleman's not sitting there in negotiations going, hey, you know what, guys? I'm willing to take less from you guys just to do this. Like, he's not going to say that. Like, you got to. Denver's going to have to give more than that. They're going to have to give value for it. But maybe if you're Gettleman, if you know you're walking away with one of those 4 guys, do you say to yourself, listen, I'm content getting those 4 guys, and maybe I don't get the 2nd or 3rd round pick next year in next year's draft, or maybe I don't get the additional 5th round pick in this year's draft. Maybe I'm content with the 2nd, the 3rd, and the whatever next year in a play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But just the value.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is there any linebacker that, because I know you said you wanted to stay into this top 7 because you were concerned that maybe one of those guys
I already know what the answer is.
Drop till 8.
I already know what the answer is, Ned. I would drop down to probably the 9-10 spot is probably Roquan Smith territory.
Bingo. If you were going to tell me that we're dropping out of that, then I need to be in a spot where I can grab that kid. But he's on the second tier. He's on the second tier for me. For me, there's like the quarterbacks, and you put the quarterbacks above all because it's a quarterback league, and if you get that guy, he'll mask.
And this is where I fall with it, and I know the fans will go off because I read their comments. Here's my thing, and I love the guys. Like, for example, Barkley, I have no problem dropping to 12 and not getting Barkley. I have no problem dropping to 12 and not getting Nelson. Not that I don't love those players, and I think they're awesome. I still think you can get someone comparable later, and I would like to have even a bigger draft haul. Now, if you're my guy. Now, if you're telling me if you're telling me I'm getting Chubb, if I only go back a little bit, I like that because I don't think there's that many really pass rushers in this draft like that.
Well, if you move back to 5 with Denver, you're walking away with Barkley or Chubb.
All right, let's hit up some.
If you move back to 5, if 5's the spot, you're walking away with Barkley or Chubb. It all depends on what Denver's doing. Oh, I got buzzed. Why did I get buzzed?
Let's get to.
He wants to go to callers.
Let's go to calls. Ready? That's all you got buzzed.
Buzz.
Yeah. 717.
Yo, 717.
Yeah, you're on. What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up some points. When the Redskins traded for RG3, they gave up 3 number 1s, a number 2, and that was not move up as far as you guys are saying. I think I forget how far they moved up off the top of my head. The Bears just last year they gave up just to move up one spot. They gave up 3 number 3s and a 4th. So if the Giants cut down with Denver, they got to get something comparable with the Bears got last year. And that's a lot of great talent.
Definitely. I mean, they'll probably get even a better package because they're going up to get bingo, right? Yeah, they're probably going to get a little bit more. Probably get a second-round pick thrown in there. But yeah, they're going to have to give up a lot. But if you're Gettleman, to me, it's enticing to stay in the top 7. Because I need to walk away with one of those 4 guys. And I know what Tim said. I'm okay walking away with Nelson. I'm okay walking away with one of those. If I don't, you're drafting. You were 3 and 13. I don't want to be drafting. I don't want to be. I don't want the 12th best player in the draft. I want to have my.
I'll give you an example, James.
My choice of those guys.
Well, if I can tell you this, and you can't guarantee anything. It's a draft.
Nothing. We're bullshit.
Yes, it's all bullshit. But let's say I give you the choice of drafting Barkley, or I can give you Geis from LSU and another player. What would you rather take?
But hold on. Wait a minute now, because I got some questions. If you're going to throw it to me like that, right? So am I? I like and you pronounced it wrong because on this show we don't say Geis. We throw it back to Jim Carrey and the Cable Guy. You want some Jewess. So if you're asking me if I'm interested in Jewess, yes, I will take some Jewess. Now here's the thing though. Where am I trading back to and who's on the board?
Right.
You see, if I'm sitting 5 through 7. Where am I trading back to? Am I sitting at 6? Because I can tell you who I would draft if I'm sitting at 6.
Okay, let's say instead of going to 6, let's say we do the Buffalo trade, for just example.
Oh God!
So you got the 12, you got the 22.
I don't want the Buffalo trade.
I don't want the Buffalo trade. I don't want it. I don't want the Buffalo trade.
That's as low as we'll go.
This is
Tell him, Justin. Play the NWO music.
No,
other bad. I thought what happened to the positivity?
Fuck Buffalo. Fuck Bills Mafia.
First of all, wow, Justin dropped us, Marco.
Shame.
He dropped us.
Shame.
You guys are going to get a copyright strike.
Well, he's back. He's back at Hilo.
Scott Norwood, bitches.
This is an 8-player draft.
Tag you back out real quick. Tag me, Justin. Tim, we're not saying that there's no talent after the top 8 in the draft. We would all agree that there's a shit ton of talent in this draft.
Guys,
but when you look at it, you have to tier it, right? So we're saying that there's a drop off after the top 8 players, right? Go ahead, Justin. Tag it back in.
If the Giants have the number 2 pick and they select anybody named Minkah Fitzpatrick or not any of the other 7 players we've already mentioned, I'm throwing my remote through my television. That is a waste of our 3-13 season, all the shit that we went through to get a player that's
my point
on
exactly.
the top of the draft board.
Yes.
We're sitting at 2.
Honestly, I think it's gonna be, I know we were playing around with the trades. If you want my answer, I think Sam Darnold's going to be the pick at 2. And it's going to be us picking.
Well, see, I'm fine with that. See, if you tell me that, and that's always been our thing, right? We've said it. If you're sold on the quarterback, take him. Take the guy. If it's Rosen, you could sell me on Rosen. Fuck. You know what, man? For as much as I don't like Allen, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I've been right about guys. I've been wrong about guys. If you want Allen, take Allen. But if you're sold on the guy, take him with conviction, and that's your guy. If it's not, then there are 4 other guys in this draft that don't play quarterback that if you're 3-13 and have holes all over your roster, especially when it comes to rushing the passer, offensive lineman, running game, defensive backfield. You need help in all 4 of those positions, and you can walk away with arguably the best player at one of those positions in the draft plus picks if you stay into the top 7.
You know what?
We ready for 347?
One second. I'm gonna
throw him on.
Let me drop a bomb real quick. I'm calling it right now. I think
Go ahead.
Eli Apple is going to be a solid, not only a solid starter next year, he's going to be a Pro Bowl starter next year.
Yeah, where did that come from? Wow, trying to make up for your poor draft talk.
All right, 347, you're on the line.
Do they tell you that at camp?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, 347, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up? So, talking about, trading the pick to number 5, I think we should trade the pick to the Broncos and take C.J. Anderson along with that and Bradley Roby. Would you guys be intrigued about that?
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about what players. They're going to still have to give a shit ton of picks.
Yeah,
along with
picks.
They just gave up Talib. They're not giving up Roby. They're expecting Roby to be starting. But C.J. Anderson, I'm not sold on C.J. Anderson. He's a fullback, honestly.
And we just signed Stewart. I don't see the fit there with C.J. Anderson, actually, when you think about it now.
I'd rather
you know what? I mean, I can definitely
see.
I can definitely see where there's a player coming back in the package if there is a trade back coming, where maybe there's a player, a throw-in or sweetener of some sort coming back to the Giants. I don't know what that would be, but
I would like Brandon Marshall if I got the two. Brandon Marshall, the middle linebacker.
Look, can I get Von Miller? I'll take Von Miller.
All right. I'm going to throw you on hold. Let's get to the next one. 862. Are you ready? 862.
862.
Hello?
Hey,
what's your name?
Hey, I was contemplating about what you guys. Hello?
Yeah,
you're on.
You were thinking about what we were saying. Were you liking it? Were you hating it? Were you loving it? Tell us.
Oh no, I'm loving it. Except about the C.J. Anderson being a fullback. I think he's more of a capable back than that. But yeah, I was I was contemplating on what you guys said about, the potential Beckham trade about a week or two ago, and I was just thinking the Giants could potentially flip their entire roster with just two simple moves. And here's what I was thinking actually. What if, and this is all hypothetical, what if the Giants were to trade Beckham to Cleveland, and you would get back Cleveland's fourth overall pick, the 35th pick, as well as Corey Coleman. Okay.
I'm listening.
And then
I'm listening. Yes.
And then you would trade the the second pick to Buffalo and get that massive haul of picks. That way, not only do the Giants get to stay in the top 5 and get one of those Hall of Fame potential players, whether it's a Barkley, Nelson, Fitzpatrick, or Chubb, but you can also move back to 12 and get potentially a Mike McGlinchey, a Roquan Smith, a Tremaine Edmonds, or a Vita. I'm just throwing names.
Marco, can he get a round of applause? Give him a round of applause, Marco.
Yeah, I like
round of applause. Caller of the night.
Because personally, I feel like what you guys said about what you guys said about a week ago, even though as bad as we were, we still have a lot of quote-unquote Batmans on our defense. You got Landon Collins, the man in the secondary, Alec Ogletree, the man in the linebacking core, and Damian Harrison on the on your front seven. What if you were to fulfill those roles by getting those extra picks, and you could get a Micah Fitzpatrick with the 4th overall pick, a Roquan Smith, at 12 overall, or even a Mike McGlinchey, and you could kick over to right tackle and compete with Eric Flowers.
Exactly, and then he just switches to left when.
He's got me doing the two-step. I'm doing two-step. I'm all about Minka Fitzpatrick. Listen, hey, if they can pull, listen, I'm sure we're going to get to OBJ in a couple of minutes, and that is still a very difficult conversation to have for a lot of Giant fans. But there's a lot to talk about there. We'll get to that. But if you're telling me that. If that's the plan, that Gettleman's going to bring back a second, a third, and Corey Coleman, and give up Beckham and end up with I'm all ears listening to that. And if you can stay in the top 4 and then you're going to make that trade, then at that point, I think that then you really consider if you have the 4th pick in lock and key. Then it becomes I'll listen to Buffalo because I'm walking away with those 4 guys. But that's a dream scenario, and I think that what happened with the Rams has really put a little water on the OBJ thing. Now I do think when it comes to the OBJ thing, if you're telling me that the situation is dead, I think you're very naive, because the Rams were not the only team that were rumored to be involved in this thing. There was the Niners, the Colts, the Browns were definitely one of them. The Colts again, the Niners, the Seahawks. So there are a couple of teams that are still sniffing around there. So don't be naive and think that it's dead. Now, Patriots, who just acquired another first-round pick, have a ton of picks to play with. A lot of people think they're going for Rosen. A lot of people think they're going for OBJ. You're going to hear a lot over the next 3 weeks. Here's what needs to happen in reference to OBJ, and here's really what it comes down to, Giant fans, like it or not, right? OBJ wants to get paid.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, when it comes down to it, if you look at from the Giants' perspective, not from OBJ's perspective, and a lot of people say, pay that man, pay that man, pay that man.
I'm not paying him $1 million.
If you were the owner of the team, Giant fans, you would not see it like that. We're fans. You guys want OBJ on the team. You like the one-handed catches and the dancing and the pregame stuff and the slants for 70-yard touchdowns. You guys love it. So you guys are seeing it from a fan's perspective, but from ownership's perspective, okay, this is a kid that he's on his rookie contract, Giants fans. Okay, he's been spoken to by 2 owners, 2 general managers, 3 head coaches, 3 head coaches, Chris Carter. 3. Okay, there's been a bevy of people, and still, okay, right after he comes out and says he wants $20 million, a couple of weeks later, whether you like it or not, Giant fans, the video came out. Okay, now from an ownership's perspective, you're not going to hand a person a 6-year, $120 million contract, 5-year, $100 million contract when you have had multiple conversations with someone and they have disregarded what you have said and just continued to do whatever you've wanted to do. So what needs to happen here is there needs to be a compromise, and the compromise needs to be from Odell Beckham Jr.'s end, not from the Giants' end. Okay, there is a way here where both parties can win in the short term and push this conversation back a couple of years. All right, it doesn't have to be 5 years, $100 million. It doesn't have to be 6 years, $120 million right now. And I got news for you, Giant fans. If it wasn't for Odell Beckham Jr.'s own antics, he'd have that contract already. If Mike Evans has been signed for $16.5 million a year, OBJ would have his contract for $20 million a year already if he didn't do the shit that he's done. So, with the Giants not wanting to give him that contract, and you can see Odell Beckham Jr. already backing down, it's gone from 20 to 18 in a month because he knows that the Giants are not going to do that. So, realistically, what you can do – hold on. What you can do – what you can do here is you can sign him to a very Kirk Cousins-like deal, and I'm not talking about the $20 million. I'm not talking about the number. I'm talking about the length of a 3-year deal for anywhere between, let's say, $44 and $49 million. That's $15 to $16 million per season on a 3-year. You have security. It's cap-friendly for us. You have the security you want over the next 3 years, and when the collective bargaining agreement is renewed, we sit down and we can talk about a 6-year, 7-year, $23 million contract, $24 million contract at that point. If that doesn't happen, this may break. Now, I'm off my soapbox. I don't think I said anything wrong. All the Giant fans that hate me about OBJ, what did I say that was wrong there? Thank you.
I agree. Like, he's been, and once again, I love Odell. Okay, personally, I would want him to be a Giant for life. But I'm sorry, I'm not paying you Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers type money when A, we don't necessarily win, even when you do put up good numbers, and B, like you said, you've been a pain in our ass for the past 5 years, almost making, $5 million? You're expecting me to pay you $25 million? Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah, that's tough.
But what I get home, 17, 18, even $19 million. Sure.
Justin, did you want to get in on this?
Yeah, listen, I have something very important to say, and this is to...
I know you've been very critical with me in the whole OBJ case, so I'm curious...
No,
I'm curious, because I came from it from a different perspective now, Justin. I'm trying to find a way.
Yeah, no, this is where I am with Odell Beckham Jr. And this specifically goes out to the YouTube commenters that said that my 2-minute rant, I was talking to Odell Beckham like a slave.
Oh, my God, did they go there?
Jesus. Oh, the commenters go there.
Hold on. I wasn't talking about him like a slave. I was talking about him like an employee. Because he is an employee. And you know what? I got a big raise this year at my job. And you know why I got a big raise this year? Because I fucking showed out at my job. and I got shit done. So, if Odell Beckham wants a raise,
show out.
Step up and play.
Like, come back this season. shut up, come back this season, play for 16 games,
Captain
put up the numbers.
Negative.
But he would get the contract.
With Odell Beckham. And
He would
Odell,
get it.
I pray to God, Odell, you're listening.
He would get it.
I pray that you hear this, because this is what I'm saying. Odell Beckham has no leverage.
None.
The Giants would be stupid to trade him right now. I don't care if they got 3 first-round picks. They'd be stupid to trade him right now. His value is at the lowest that it's ever been. He's coming off a broken ankle. He played 3.5 games last year. He's a malcontent, and we have him under contract. So guess what? Go ahead. Sit out all summer. I don't give a shit. We're not going to win anyway. So if you sit out, you're just going to get us a better pick next year, which we're going to need. We're not winning.
Well, he really has no control over the matter, and that's why I think he has no control. Here's what he needs to realize, right, is that he has no control over the matter for the next 3, and that's why I said the 3-year deal makes so much sense, because it eliminates all the negativity from it, and it really does, all it does is put him under control for the Giants for a longer amount of time with a little bit more money. And when I say a little bit more money, you're like, what do you mean a little bit more money? Well, a little bit more money, because if you're going to franchise him for 2 seasons, it's going to cost you probably $16.5 million a year, $17 million a year to franchise him, because he's going to have to get paid what in the top 4 of what? How's that work? He has to get paid in the top 4 of the salaries of the top 4 wide receivers
of the position, right?
Yeah, right. So you're going to be paying him $16.5 million anyway over the next 2 years. So basically, what I say is give him the 3-year deal. It locks him in for that amount anyway. He knows he's getting that amount, but he gets a raise this year as well, from the $8 million to where he gets an additional 4 to 5. So the son of a bitch is still getting more money, and he still hasn't showed up yet for minicamp and put up in the season after the injury and stuff.
All right,
let's jump
to the next
Hear me
call.
now
Ready?
and listen to me later. Hear me now and listen to me later. Don't pay him a red cent more than the $8.5 million he's making this year. If you do, you're stupid.
Yeah, I'd let him come back and play the whole year too.
Listen,
I really would.
Listen, let him hold out, because you know what the CBA has right now? If you hold out into the season, you get fined. So at some point, he's going to think, oh, shit, I'd rather have my $8.5 million than sit out and actually lose that money. He's making $8.5 million this year, and he's going to be happy about it.
See, that's why I think there's an opportunity to really smooth things out. And when you think about it, it's a very Kirk Cousins-like thing. It's like, hey, you know what, we're going to just buy some time here with the contract. We're going to pay you, a little bit less considering what you put us through, and then we'll make it up to you when you show us that you can put up and shut up for the next 3 seasons. I think it's very fair to both parties. I really do. But for him to think he's getting a 6 or 7 year deal now, fuck you.
Ready? Let's hit up 240. Ready? He's been on hold for a little bit. 240, are you there?
Oh,
where you calling from? Hello.
Maryland. Hello.
Maryland. What's your name?
Be more.
My name is Vaughn. My name is Vaughn. It's my first time calling.
Welcome.
Appreciate it, man. The whole OBJ talk, I understand, but it's no way I'm trading that guy. This guy, when he first stepped foot on the field for the Giants, set records. And you want to trade him? I don't give a damn what he done. The stuff that he's
I don't want to trade him, but I don't want to. But if you're forcing me to sign you for 7 years right now, I'm taking what I can get for you. I'm not giving you a 7-year contract. I don't want to trade him, but you're going to give him a 7-year deal right now, a 6-year deal, a 5-year deal for $100 million, $95 million. You're going to hand that to him now?
I can't. The numbers gonna have to be worked. I agree with you, but
I mean, like I said, I'm all about I don't want to trade him, Right? I don't think anybody in their right mind would want to trade him. Right? You want to see him mature and just shut up and play because no one. We've said it on. This is your first time calling in. I don't know if you've listened before, but what we've said on this show a million times before is there's one person on this planet that can stop Odell Beckham Jr. on a football field, and that person is Odell Beckham Jr. There's no.
Right.
I've never seen a kid with his God-given talent on the football field. I've never seen it, and I'm a 40-year-old. I'm an old man. So when no one wants to trade this kid, but if you're going to say that you're not going to show up and you're not going to show up unless you get 18 to 20 million, that puts the Giants in a very difficult position. And if someone comes along with 2 first-round picks, even though you don't want to listen, you have to listen. Because you can't be held ransom by this kid. You look like an idiot to the rest of the league. No matter how bad we want him to be a Giant, he represents the Giants, not the other way around.
You're right.
So
You're right.
I mean, I'm not trying. No one wants to trade him. We love him. The fucking kid's amazing, but he needs to just wisen up. Either come back and play this year on your $8.5 million, come back off the injury, show out, put up 1,400 yards and 13 touchdowns, play 16 games, shut your mouth, become a leader on this team. You don't got to win a Super Bowl, but just be a positive influence on this team and play hard for the whole season. Don't let anyone, a coach, a general manager, an owner, a fucking water boy, us, don't let anyone have to answer a question. Why was Odell in a dance-off on Wednesday night? Why was Odell doing this on social media? Why did Odell have his shirt off before the game? Just shut the fuck up and play. And do you think he'll get paid his $20 million?
First of all, if he does anything because of us, then we made it.
No, I'm not saying that. You know what the fuck I'm saying. He'll get his contract. He comes back and he plays and he shows out. He does what Odell can do, and he doesn't say a word about it and just lets his play do the talking. He's going to get paid $23, $24 million, and he would have had it already. He would have had it already. So we're not sitting here going trade him. But as Giant fans, worried about the New York Football Giants and not just Odell Beckham Jr. as a member of the New York Football Giants, from our perspective is if you're going to hold out and tell us that you need $18 million or else after what you have put yourself in this situation, well, Odell, guess what? Fuck you.
All right. Ned, did you have anything to add to this situation?
Well, first, actually, I have to go, so I just wanted to leave with 2 quick questions. First,
carefully, Ned.
What do you guys think about William Gay that we're apparently working with? And, that apparently we have a contract agreed to and he just needs to pass the physical. And obviously I'm not the biggest fan of Rosen, but do you think his coach is trying to sabotage him or is purposely being like overly critical? Because I feel like some of the complaints that he said weren't legitimate or were a way that he was trying to dance around something that might be a bigger issue.
Now, I heard the comments as far as what Morris said about Rosen, and all he said was, hey, he'd be a better fit with the Giants than he would with Cleveland, which all I took it as I hope Rosen doesn't have to play for Cleveland. I hope he can play for the Giants, which is a better situation. So I don't really take that as a big insult. And
I think, like, the whole intellectually stimulating thing and I don't know.
Everybody's known the kid's a smart kid. If he's gonna ask, whatever. I hope he's asking his coaches why we're doing this play. Why wouldn't you? I'd rather have that than a guy just sitting there doesn't know anything. Because I was just listening to Johnny Manziel, who had no idea how to run plays when he was in Cleveland. And
no one know anything outside of the spread.
I'm watching that in front of him. Like, this just feels sad. Johnny Manziel got so frustrated. He's just like, I'm going to get hammered after this. Screw it.
I'm going to go bang hot chicks.
Oh, wait.
Fuck this shit.
Speaking of that, did you guys see, like, what was it? The, like, tests that's supposed to, like,
the Wonderlic?
Look at, yeah, the scores and how Jackson was scarily low.
Yeah, he scored a 15. And Josh Allen scored the highest. I saw that.
I don't need a rocket scientist. I need a quarterback.
Well,
fair enough.
The problem is
he scored, like, barely above literate.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You know what? As long as Lamar Jackson can sit a year, maybe even 2, I'd be fine with Lamar Jackson. But
yeah,
I feel bad for the kid if he has to start day 1. If he has to start day 1, I feel bad for the kid because I think he's going to get crushed.
I don't need Lamar Jackson. I don't need Lamar Jackson to I don't need Lamar Jackson to fucking put a rocket together or come up with fucking or figure out the Pythagorean theorem or whatever the fuck. Like, I just need him to make plays, and that kid could make plays. And if you put him in a system and he can learn that system, it's going to be interesting with a lot of these guys, because I think a lot of it, like, for example, right, like Baker Mayfield goes to the Jets. He learns an offense this season. Season goes bad. Bowles gets fired. New offensive coordinator comes in. He has to learn a second offense in the second year. Stunts the kid's growth, right? I think a lot of it's going to depend on where these kids end up. I think that really is going to say a lot for their future. You know, somebody who goes to Cleveland, you would hope that they get their shit together. But, same situation where Hugh Jackson, if this thing falls on its face, maybe he gets a 2-year with the new talent there. Maybe Hugh Jackson gets 2 years. What if he falls on his face after 2 years? Now your rookie quarterback has learned an offense for 2 years, and then, boom, year 3 has to learn a new offense. If Lamar Jackson ends up, if any of these kids end up in a situation where they can have a consistent coach, even if the offensive coordinator changes, where the head coach is consistent and the franchise is consistent, and they build with this kid as opposed to have complete chaos around them, each one of these kids has a chance to be really, really good. Each one of them do.
I agree with you there. So I guess I'll head off. Do at least talk about William Gay, because I feel like that's going to be very, very interesting to see. I'll check it out when you upload the full thing on YouTube.
Awesome.
All right, buddy.
As far as William Gay, I'm cool with it. I mean, it's not like somebody's going to knock your socks off.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a Michael Thomas type thing where it's like a solid signing, right? I mean, it's
well,
it's
you know
like,
what, the Michael Thomas thing actually is, again, like we've been talking about, it's another special team signing, because I guess he's an awesome, he's like an all-pro special team player.
Yeah, he is an all-pro special teamer. He's a good player.
So, hey, you know what? And William Gay, it's just more. Let's be honest. Is William Gay upgraded from Ross Cockrell? No, probably about the same kind of player. Probably the same kind of player. But you know what? I like all the competition they're bringing in, because there's a lot of corners they're gonna be fighting for jobs on this team, and they got good.
Yeah, I don't mind this. I don't mind the signing of Gay. I think that anytime you could bring in veteran competition, it's a good thing. From what I know, Gay, he's not a bad locker room guy. So you sort of look at the guys they're bringing in, and even though we laughed at the Jonathan Stewart signing, but when you look at the guys that they're bringing in, all solid locker room guys, some good veterans. So, I think he goes along with the rest of the signings that they've had. How much he contributes, we're going to see. He'll come in, he'll compete, and we'll see, how well he plays once training camp starts.
Now, I know it's not a huge, it's just lip service for the most part, but I was reading James Betcher's little interview today. And just about how the defense is going to be fast, it's going to be physical, We're going to be attacking. He's like, there's going to be times I'm going to be bringing 6 or I might drop 8. Don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to lie, the defense has got me more excited because I want to see what they do with Ogletree. And honestly, I think B.J. Goodson is going to be 10 times better with Ogletree next to him.
Again, I hope so. I mean, that's the dream.
That's the dream if B.J. Goodson stays healthy. One.
We did a lot of. Here's the thing, and this is something that we really need to stay away from going into this year, guys. We got to try. We did a lot of assuming last year, right? We did a lot of Goodson's going to be so good in the middle, and Brandon Marshall's going to be so good on the outside, and Red Ellison's going to open up the running game. So I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see. Am I excited about what Betcha brings to the table? Yeah, I am, because one thing I think Betcha does very well is he'll use the pieces that he has. I don't think that he goes in saying I'm going to have a 3-4 or a 4-3. I think he looks at the cards he's dealt, and then the defense evolves to the pieces that he has to play with. If he's able to, do more of a 3-4 scheme in situations, he will. If he's able to, play a 4-3, he will in spots. If he has to play it, he'll mix it up. You'll see a bunch of different fronts from him as long as he has the talent to do it.
Yeah, he's pumped about Vernon. Vernon's going to be playing that like Chandler Jones was playing for Arizona, like Marcus Goldson. They have some intriguing. The interchangeable piece.
They have some intriguing pieces, right? I mean, they really do. Are they a finished product? No, not by any means. But they have some intriguing pieces where it's going to be interesting to see how a guy like Betcha, uses them. I can't wait to see how they. I'm hoping that they do address defense in the draft with a couple of these top picks. That's why I would love a trade back to add some additional picks, because I think there's some good talent to be had in the front 7 and even in the secondary, where they can add some players that can make a huge difference, right away, especially in Betch's scheme. So, we'll see. We're going to see, guys. It's going to be fun.
That's the thing with a guy like Fitzpatrick in Betch's system.
God.
Because he's so versatile.
I can't even bring myself to think about it.
That would be solid. Would definitely be solid.
I can't even bring myself to think about it. He is made for that scheme. I mean, you can use him in the slot. You can use him all over the field. And the thing I love about Fitzpatrick is a lot of people fall in love with, like, the combine and stuff. You know what I love? You know what I fall in love with? I love when you put on the film and it's a huge game. It's a huge game on a Saturday night under the lights, and the kid shows up. I love it. And Fitzpatrick shows up in those situations. And I think, I don't know if it's going to be the Giants, but whoever walks away with that kid, he's going to probably be in the top 7, and they get themselves a gem.
Yeah. I'm with you as far as Fitzpatrick. I mean, the versatility is going to be the biggest thing, and I really think they're going to be bringing in a linebacker, at least one.
I would hope so, right? You would think there's a need for an outside linebacker, right? There's a need for another guy.
A guy that can play both. I'm probably going to butcher his name. I think it's Nwosa from USC. You know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, him I think could actually fit in, because I think he can play outside and inside. Another guy, like, let's say if we got Roquan Smith, they put Roquan next to Ogletree. Our linebacker core just got to be a strength, instead of the weakness that it's been for the past how many years.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you, Tim. I think if you can add a player like that, then that's phenomenal. I I'm all for bringing in another linebacker or a couple linebackers. But here's the thing, right? I mean, I think that when you look at the roster, you can see where there's needs pretty much all over it. I mean, you can use another safety, you can use another corner, you can use another linebacker, you can use another DN, you can always use another defensive tackle. You can use a guard, you can use, probably another tackle if the value's there. You could always use another wide receiver, considering we saw the depth that you need to have at that position. You need a running back. Yeah. So I think that when you look at what needs to happen here is when you get on the board, I think that the Giants, not that it's a luxury, you never want to have that many needs or holes on your roster, but I think at least it gives you peace of mind that, if you're taking the best player that's on your board, it's probably at a position that you can use them at. So I think that you can sit back and see how the board folds out, and when you're on the clock, you're saying to yourself, okay, well, this guy's a cornerback and he's a high. We don't have to reach for need because we need a cornerback. We don't have to reach for need because we need. You know what I'm saying, though, Tim?
Well, yeah,
you can use players all over this roster, like draft good football players, bring them to camp, and let them work itself out.
Yeah, one of the things Gettleman said in his very beginning interviews and whatnot, he's like, I don't like going into a draft worrying about needs. He's like, that's what free agency is for, to fill those spots. Draft is just to, add bonus on top of it.
Yeah, give me good football players.
And that's what he's going to do. The one thing that we definitely knew we needed secondary help. He signed, like 4 or 5 secondary people? I'm not saying they're like, they're going to lock it down, they're starters. But he makes it to where we're not having to reach. And that's the one thing that Jerry Reese always messed up on, because he pretty much made it to where we had to reach for the guys. He's like, that's our hole, that's what we have to go for, and everybody knew it. Where Gettleman's like, I don't necessarily – like you said, we have enough holes where you can't predict it this year, but I think he's filled enough spots where we don't have to necessarily reach.
I think to reach would be a mistake.
Offensive line-wise, I think we're going to be a better offensive line regardless come next year. Let's say we grab Nelson, we're going to be a 10 times better offensive line.
I mean, I think to reach would be an absolute mistake, especially when you get into the 3rd and 4th and 5th. Like, if you've done your homework and you have a solid board and you're confident in your board's rankings, right, then why are you reaching? When you get to the 3rd and 4th round and you're looking at especially when you get past the 4th, when you get to the 4th, 5th, 6th round, when you're looking at the board and you're saying, well, these are dart throws anyway, right? So I mean, if you put your due diligence into your work, take the best player that's still on your board. Don't worry about what fucking position he plays. Take the best player, bring him to camp, and then let it work itself out.
And then if you still got, let's like, oh shit, I should have grabbed another corner. You know what? That's when you get on the phone, right, undrafted free agents in, and hope.
But Tim, here's the thing, and this is where Jerry Reese has fucked us over the last couple of years, and that's why I think it's going to be a couple of seasons before this team can realistically compete. And the reason why I say that, Giant fans, don't fucking kill me, but the reason why I say that is because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And to be able to get through a 16-game schedule. No, come on. I'm being good tonight. There's at least logic behind this. It's not just fire and brimstone, right? So if you're going to compete for a full 16 games, you need to be deep. Like, you got to be able to sustain injuries. We've seen it. Guys are going to get hurt. Guys are going to get banged up. So you have to be deep at positions. You can't have Munson playing middle linebacker for you. So, with that being said, by bringing in 6-7 good players during the draft process, no matter what position they play, if you can do that and bring in some solid players over the course of 2-3 seasons, that's where you see this thing really start to play dividends is, next man up, these guys are ready to go because they're solid players. And that's where you start to win some games longevity-wise. It's not just a flash in the pan.
Oh, I agree. Now, how excited are you going to be, and how long is it going to take for you to be clamoring for Sam Darnold if he's our draft pick?
If it's Sam Darnold, not right away. No. If it's Sam Darnold, no. I won't be clamoring. There'll be no clamoring. There'll be no clamoring, at least until we get to it. To me, it would be the same thing. To me, it would be the same exact thing as going into this year. I would not want to see Darnold if he was drafted. If the Giants took him at 2, I would not want to see him start the season. I would be content with letting Eli take that and then seeing how the season played out. If the Giants are competitive and going in and competing for a playoff spot, that's another thing. Nobody wanted to throw Eli the fuck on the sideline last season, but the season we were in dictated that we should have sat his ass down. There wasn't anything personal against Eli Manning, like it's nothing personal against OBJ. It's fucking business. Grow up. But so if we got to the point where it's week 9, week 10, Tim, and they're really bad and they're out of contention, or you get to week 12 and they're eliminated from the playoffs, then I think that you would want to see him then, right?
Yeah,
I think when you're eliminated from the playoffs, you want to see the kid.
Yeah, we're out of playoff. Let's see him.
Yeah, but I don't think that I'd be clamoring. I don't think I'd be clamoring for him. Not at 21 years old coming into the league. I'd want him to sit and learn at least until it was absolutely necessary that he play. And if Eli's 38 years old and it's week 12 and the Giants are eliminated from the playoffs, then and we can see Darnold for 3 or 4 games, then I think that I think the franchise would be set back if you didn't see him for 3 or 4 games, right? I mean, that's going to be your guy moving forward. No disrespect to Eli Manning, and I think that's how it needs to be handled. Where if the Giants, even if it's Rosen, who people say is ready to go right now, if the Giants draft Rosen, well, I'm very sorry, Josh Rosen, you're going to have to sit there for at least until the point where the Giants are out of it, and then it will be a handing off to you, and then you'll see a separation from Eli Manning from that. What will get tricky is if the Giants can compete next year and they get into the playoffs, will be, okay, how long now do you go with Eli Manning? Like, if they go to the playoffs and lose, will the narrative be, oh, wow, we can still get there with Eli, or, wow, if we go to Rosen, this team is ready to take the next step with Rosen. It gets tricky there. So you would hope that at the end of the first season, there's some break in seeing which way it's going to go.
Those are good problems to have.
Those are very good problems to have, dude. Very good problems to have.
Yeah, the bad part is, so if we draft a quarterback and we make playoffs, we're like, oh shit, we have to keep Eli starting.
No, and that's not even it. It just makes it just prolongs the conversation as to, instead of saying, because if they're bad, right, and they ended up going to that quarterback, pick fucking one, any quarterback, for the last month, then you're saying to yourself, okay, well, this was a bad team again with Eli Manning, and now we have the quarterback, right? So now you're not going to draft. You're going to have another high pick. You're not going to draft a quarterback. You have your quarterback. So depending on, and here's the other thing: how does the quarterback play over the course of the last month? If the quarterback comes in and he's fucking completely overwhelmed, it's going to lead more to the case of saying, okay, well, maybe we need to bring Eli back to play out the last year of his contract and let this kid grow a little more. If Rosen comes in, or said quarterback comes in and plays very well, you're going to see a lot of it, okay, well, now it's time to turn the page. If they go to the playoffs, you're going to see a lot of people wanting to hold on to Eli for that other year.
You're
right?
Very nurturing. Okay, Marco, I just want to put this out there. He's very nurturing to this first-round quarterback. When, if he's shitty, then maybe bring Eli back and, we help.
Well, Eli's going to be under contract.
He wanted Davis Webb to get thrown in there with the shitty offensive line, no wide receivers. And you know what? If you shit the bed too damn bad,
I don't care what the team looks like when we're eliminated from the playoffs. If we get to the point where we're eliminated from the playoffs next year, I don't care if there's midgets playing the offensive line. You put fucking Darnold in, or you put Rosen in. You put him in. I don't care. That doesn't change.
Boys, I got to step away and do something. You want to keep this going, or you want to end it early?
I'm done. I'm done for the night. I'm gonna go get some shut eye.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll get some once the Giants get the balls on.
Yeah,
Justin. Send us off.
The Eli discussion is a simple one. All right? We gave Eli last year, okay? We let him play despite the fact that we were 2-11 or whatever the hell we were, right?
2 in a million.
We tore up the Super Bowl champion, and that got him. That got him this year, right?
Yeah.
But we were 2-11 when they were benched, or when he was benched, or whatever that was. All right.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
So, and we gave him the job back. If they invest a pick in a quarterback, that'll be the second time that they've used a premium pick on a quarterback in the last 3 years. And let me explain something to you. If the Giants squeak into the playoffs, but it's on the merit of a quick, fast defense that plays with heart, that's rejuvenated and that makes plays, and Eli is mediocre, if we have that quarterback in waiting that we've spent the premium second overall pick on.
I agree with you. You're gonna hear a huge calling for that kid to play.
Well, how about this scenario, guys? How about this scenario? What happens if
I agree with you, Justin.
What happens if Davis Webb outplays whoever we drafted to?
That's a good problem to have, Tim.
Awesome. Here, this is something else that I wanted to say. This is the last thing I'm going to say. If the Giants spend the number 2 overall pick on a quarterback, if that transpires, if they take a quarterback anywhere in this draft, doesn't even have to be in the first round. If we walk away from this draft with another quarterback at it, Eli Manning better not play it down in the preseason.
I'm going to say this. If Davis Webb turns out to be that good, then I think we should hire Jerry Reese back.
Boom! I think that's how you end it.
All right, everyone. Thanks.
That's how
we'll end on that note. We will see you. Are we doing it Sunday morning for WrestleMania?
We could.
Let's do it. Yeah. Sunday morning, WrestleMania morning? Absolutely.
WrestleMania preview.
Let's do it.
I might have to see what's going on for Sunday morning, but I think that looks good. And if you're new here, hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll talk to you all later on. Peace out. Thanks a lot, boys.
Bleed Big Blue.
Yep, Bleed Big Blue.